This is The Whole Truth, brought to you by the Greenville County Democratic Party. From local city councils and school boards to the South Carolina legislature and the nation, we provide a clear-eyed view of the whole truth surrounding the decisions, the policies, and the politics that have a direct impact on your family, your neighbors, and you. Today, we continue our podcast series on civics for Greenville County and the upstate. This episode covers one of the more crucial government roles in this election cycle, the South Carolina House of Representatives. The reason it's critical this election? For the first time in over 50 years, there is a Democratic nominee on the ballot for every one of the state house seats in South Carolina. To explain this role to you, we have the Greenville County hometown favorite General Assembly member from District 23, Chandra Dillard.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Whole Truth. And today we have with us Representative Chandra Dillard. And I am so excited because I've had the pleasure of just following her career for the past few years and seeing how she navigates the House of Representatives being in the minority. And she's been in the minority since 2009, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Forever.
But before that, you were actually on city council for a number of years as well. So
and I was in the majority.
You were in the majority. So that had to be like a shock to your system coming into the house, right?
Exactly.
So welcome, Representative Dillard.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. So, we were just saying how you were in the minority in the House of Representatives. However, a lot of people don't even know what the House of Representatives does. So could you talk about that just a little bit? And when people look at the House, what is it that they should expect to see from their representatives?
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Stacey, for the opportunity. We've been trying to get here for a minute.
We have. Yeah.
Well, the House of Representatives has 124 legislators, and we are considered the House, the part of government that's closest to the people. Mm-hmm. And we each represent about 46,000 constituents. And so our job is to be policymakers for the state, also to set a budget, which seems like it took forever this year, but we do have a budget. And everything under the sun, A through Z, if you can think about it, we can legislate it. Mm-hmm. But, the core functions of our government would be public education, public safety, health, public health. Mm-hmm. You think about those big buckets of things we do. Taxes, tax reform, anything in the tax realm. And then, of course, funding our state agencies.
Right.
Just to kind of keep it simple.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't tax reform kind of one of the big hangups for the budget this year, along with a number of other things? But
yes, it was a very big hangup. So we had two, what I call monumental tax conversations this year. One was the reduction in the personal income tax. That was, it was interesting because people, as we dropped the income, the rate for some, the rate went up for others.
Sure.
And as Democrats, we kind of voted against that tax policy because people at the lowest spectrum will now be seeing a tax. The goal is to get to what our Republican colleagues called a flat tax, which would mean zero. I don't know that we'll ever get there, but in the process, we're taxing people who can least afford it.
Right.
And the other big sticking point for the budget was the homestead exemption. So if you are 65 years or older and you own your own property, you get a tax reduction off of the first $50,000 of the assessed value of your home. The Senate wanted to increase that by $100,000, making it $150,000.
Okay.
The House, and it was one time. And so the House did not want to concede to that because when you do tax reform, it needs to really be permanent.
Mm-hmm.
And with the other tax changes, it seemed to be a bit much. As we, right now we're in the throes of, other things. And so the compromise was $75,000.
Okay.
So for those homeowners who, again, 65 years and older, and who are signed up for the homestead exemption, they can now, at least next year, have a $75,000 tax relief. Yeah.
Okay. So, and that's great. I'm glad we were able to come to a consensus because, it was unprecedented. First off, that we didn't even pass a budget before the end of session.
Absolutely.
And I have my thoughts on that, but I'll leave that one alone. But there were other things, I think, as well that led to us having to extend that time on the budget. And one of those was earmarks, if I'm correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I'm going to even go back a little bit.
Sure.
So our budget was delayed initially because we were talking about redistricting.
That is true. That is very, very true.
And we were going through that exercise
right
in overtime.
Exactly.
When we should have been talking about the budget.
Correct. Yes.
Right. So we are, trying to, well, not us as Democrats, but our Republican colleagues answer the phone call of President Donald Trump saying we want midterm redistricting.
Right.
Which threw us almost a week and a half off our normal schedule. And then we went home, everybody was exhausted. And then, we're getting close to primaries, right? For those colleagues who have primaries. So that was the first interruption.
Right.
And then we get back to the budget and we have these sticking points, which was the homestead exemption. It was also what we call community investments, which were the appropriations.
Sure. Okay. That's what you call appropriations. So where did we land on that one? Because I think that one ended up making it through the process as well, right?
Well, the budget passed without the community investments, Senate and House, which leaves about $400 million on the table. But I'm happy to report as of this week, there has been a consensus between the House leadership and the Senate leadership. And so we'll be going back Tuesday to deal with appropriations.
My goodness.
So this is hot off the press at 1 p.m.
Right. Yeah. So this whole Sunny Dyer thing just it's not really a thing.
That's right.
Right. It just won't end. But okay, I did not know you guys were going back into session for that. So
we didn't expect the compromise to come as quickly as it did. Mm-hmm. The Senate really dug in and, it was really immature of the House. It was all about parity. So the House had about $300 plus $25 million worth of community investments. The Senate had 170. They said we had too many. The dollar amount was too high. We looked at it, tried to pare it down. We got it down to 225 and they said, no, it's still too much. And so, we can't allow one person or two people to dictate for the whole state.
Right.
So we said, well, nobody's appropriations would get passed.
Sure.
And then I guess that didn't sit well on their side. And, there are a lot of great things with community investments, public safety, health. I know I had $1 million for sickle cell at Prisma, something I'm very proud of trying to support. It's one of those diseases that a lot of underserved patients don't get the attention, but we've been able to create now a lifespan center at Prisma in both Greenville and Columbia.
Oh, that's
and
great.
So we are serving 3/4 of the state now. And so I've been working on that for a while. And so, it's critical investments, infrastructure, and so many other countless things that as representatives, we know what our communities need.
Sure. Absolutely. So I'm going to circle back to redistricting, if you don't mind.
Sure.
let's talk about how, and you talked a little bit about how that came about. And then I want you to tell people what you guys did to, I guess, essentially help stop President Trump from making this a reality.
Well, it was pretty amazing to me. We thought we were done with the session, right? And we heard the buzz about midterm redistricting. And then our Republican colleagues had a meeting one day where they actually took a call from President Trump saying, you guys can't leave. We need you to dig in here and do this midterm redistricting. And so that's really how it got started. And as Democrats, Black Caucus, we combined our efforts and we just fought valiantly and tried to fight long enough to give the public awareness of what was going on. And sometimes that's our strategy. We know that we don't have the votes to win, but we know if we stay on the floor long enough, we have enough speeches, we put enough tweets out there and Facebook posts, right, that the attention will start to get the public's attention. Right. And of course, we had great partners in the process. And so we knew how many days that our leadership was willing to tolerate us.
Because they actually tried to change up the rules in the middle of session, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They did.
Yeah.
And we knew how many days the Senate might take it up, working together with our Senate Democrats. Mm-hmm. And so the whole goal was to try to get as close as we could to people starting to vote in those primaries. Because I'm like, how are you going to tell your constituents their vote will not count?
Yeah.
And we were really looking at that. Mm-hmm. And absentee ballots had already come in from around the world, from our military, from our elderly folks who needed to do that. And we had great testimony from the state's election commission. They said, well, I guess those votes won't count.
Right.
And I know I wouldn't want to look my constituents in the face and say that. So on that first day of voting, we had record number
of voting. I was so impressed with the way you all handled things, and then the way the public picked it up and was like, oh yeah, we are going to have y'all's backs. And then they went and voted. I mean, I remember the line just at County Square, just being out the door the entire first day.
It was impressive.
It was great.
And it just tells me that we can do it when we know that there's an urgent need, but it should be that way all the time.
All the time.
Election.
All the time.
All the time. Right. But the sense of urgency was felt across the state. And really, it was bipartisan. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the voters understood that they were being hoodooed.
Right.
And hoodwinked. And, and it's like, this is not fair. And so they showed up. And I am so proud and so thankful. And that's one time working together worked in the chamber and outside the chamber.
Right. The public and the legislature came together.
Yes.
And it's funny because I was telling people, I was like, we in South Carolina, we don't like being told what to do.
That's right.
Right.
Yes.
And so they found that out the hard way. It's just like, let us make up our minds for ourselves and we'll do it. But, to try and strong arm us, like, no, that's not going to happen.
Exactly. And I will say, as a result of that, we had one more really contentious bill when we went back. It was our last one on vape shops and hemp. And I don't know who was paying attention to that conversation, but one of our Republican colleagues, he was on the small business side of the conversation because it was really small business versus big business. He said, y'all, I don't know if you're paying attention, but the Democrats in South Carolina seem really energized. Now, if y'all want to go home and each one of us have a Democrat to face, if you want to go home and tell them that this is what you did and give them the talking points about how Republicans shut down small business, go right ahead. Right. Well, it worked. And Democrats combined with some Republicans who were small business minded and even the Freedom Caucus, we were able to defeat the establishment.
Wow. when the Freedom Caucus gets settled.
Yeah, but to have that honorable mention about Democrats, because we had shown up in the primaries, that, they're looking at our messaging too, and they see a different Democratic Party.
They do.
And I'm so proud of what we're doing here at home under your leadership and under Crystal Spain's leadership. And so it helps us in the chamber when we're in the trenches.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm always calling you and Representative Jones like, y'all want us to say anything? And so it's nice to kind of be in lockstep with you all at the same time. So speaking of those things that happen, as the deputy minority leader, you had to build some consensus in each of those areas, I'm sure, or help to build consensus. So can you talk a little bit about just on a general level, how you tend to try and do that whenever y'all are in session?
Well, my strength is and has always been to build collaborations among folk of different ilk.
Sure.
And, and for me, it's the quiet conversations that take place and need to take place. Sometimes it doesn't pay big dividends to shame people. I haven't found, at least that's my strategy, but to go and have quiet conversations. Hey, do you think you support it? What's the issue around this? And then we all, we're all out there doing that. And then we bring back that information and that intel, and that informs our strategy of what we should do or how we should be saying what we say at the well.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you take to the well, I've noticed that when you and a few other people take to the well, people listen.
Well, I hope so. You can wear out your welcome. But sometimes it does help to have different voices, in the well. And again, for various reasons. Most of the time, if we're going to get the support of our colleagues, it is not in the well. We're talking, we're going down the aisle, we're counting votes. We got the whips working and trying to make it to the end of the day victorious.
Yeah, well, it seemed like, or from my point of view, it looked like you guys were incredibly strategic this year in who went to the well, who spoke, who was fiery, who was more, I don't want to say pleading, but actually, just trying to get the Republicans to understand, and conversational. So I was very impressed with that and how y'all handled that situation, depending on what bill it was, who would go and speak and that kind of thing. I know Justin Bamberg, he got a lot of attention as well as Representative Jermaine Johnson. So it was interesting to me to watch and to see the clips come out of some of the things that you guys said. But that was this year. We're going to be looking towards next year. So as the next regular session convenes, what are some major policy debates or things that you expect to come up and that we should be looking for?
Well, when the next session begins, I hope we started out with more Democrats.
That part. Yes. That part. That would be great.
That somewhere in this process,
and we are working towards that,
in less than 90 days,
yes,
when we go to the polls, that we can pick up some Democratic seats.
Sure.
And in doing that, we can have more conversations, about a lot of different things and really mean it, right?
Right, exactly.
I still expect tax reform to be on the agenda. Again, there was consensus around the homestead exemption, but having a one-time tax relief, I mean, it's always great, but it needs to be extended. Right. And I think we were all for it. But how you do it and codify it is important. I know that will be on the agenda.
Okay.
Tax relief. We still need to talk about, public education and funding, even though this year was a big home run for our teachers. We finally got to $50,000, $50,500 as starting teacher pay.
Nice.
In South Carolina. So that puts us head and above our colleagues in the Southeast. So now we need to look at what else can we do to retain good teachers, put them in the classrooms, and how to advance the learning for our public school students.
And the constituents can help by voting for Sylvia Wright for superintendent of education.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And maybe we can, again, like I said, if we have more members, we can really start to additionally flex our muscle, right? Mm-hmm. And when they are in a bind, they will have to seek some consensus with us, and that will give us more bargaining power.
Yeah, which is what we're definitely missing
what we
right
want,
now.
right? Yeah. Exactly.
So, between managing rapid growth in Greenville, expanding affordable housing, which I know is something that is becoming is already part of a major conversation, and investing in early childhood development, what are your top legislative priorities and community priorities for District 23?
Well, those are it. Well, and when I ran for office, I haven't been, I've been pretty consistent on where I put my time and my resources. And it is and always has been for the last 20 plus years affordable housing.
Sure.
And so I'm proud to say that I am working with the Institute for Child Success. And while their main work is around children, it keeps coming up about children's living conditions, evictions, and things like that. And I really hope that next year, working with them and other colleagues, I can get the South Carolina Housing Commission up and running. And so I've been working on that this summer. So affordable housing is a top priority for me and always has been.
Sure.
And matter of fact, we just had listening sessions here in Greenville 2 weeks ago. And I was very proud of Greenville for showing up. We had 130 folks come, the largest group.
That's amazing.
From around the state. And we heard good things, but we heard that there's a crisis and there's a need, right?
Right.
So I'll continue to work on that. I have some environmental things in the district going on. Continue to work on that. We'll continue to see how we can pave roads in this state. But we did a really good job of giving SCDOT an enhanced toolkit this last legislative session. Okay. So I look forward to seeing the fruits of that. But on the ground in District 23, that is all I hear about. If it's not housing, it is the congestion that this growth is causing.
Yeah.
In the district, being that it's a downtown district. So whenever there's a state road, I'm usually called to the table. Constituents are asking for road diets, or how can we get pedestrians and cars and bikers all keep them all safe,
Right.
I've had more of that in the last 2 years than
Right.
It's been on my plate.
Yeah. And I guess that brings up a question for me. And because I know we have a lot more people biking around Greenville now. So is that becoming part of the conversation and creating bike lanes in some of these areas? Because I know downtown, good luck to a biker trying to get through there safely. So,
it is a conversation, and I'm proud of the SCDOT engineer that we have here in Greenville. He actually lives in Greenville, so it's not a foreign concept when we call him and talk about, one of the roads we're working on is Dunbar. And he knows Dunbar Street.
Sure.
He understands the importance, and so he's listening to the residents, and I'm proud of that. But it is about, and that's different for SCDOT because cities, they move people in a special way. But SCDOT, their job is really to just move traffic. And so they don't specialize in the boutique items that we call like bike lanes and things like that. But they will partner with the municipality
or
the county
who
wants to do things like that. So sometimes it takes, a little coaxing, that's the word I'm going to use, and resident involvement. But we're making progress here in Greenville.
Great.
Yeah.
So having been in the House for as long as you've been there, you don't have an opponent this year, right?
Correct.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Another term.
Thank you.
What do you think, what would you say is the most important thing for people to know about the House, how they can make their voices heard, and what they should be paying to? Well, we've already talked about that a little bit, but especially what they should be paying attention to in the upcoming session. Yeah.
Well, I think, I'm a big proponent of advocacy.
Mm-hmm.
I encourage everyone, if you don't know who represents you, you need to know who your state representative is.
Yes.
Your senator, your county council member, or if you live in the city, your city council member and your school board member.
Especially your school board member.
Yes. And so that's homework number one. And don't wait until there's an issue. Get to know these people. We're
Mm-hmm.
neighbors, we're friends. We live in the community. Call us for coffee, drink a wine, whatever your pleasure is. Just to talk. And even if you want to just talk politics, right? Mm-hmm. Some people just want to do that, before there's an issue. But I do hope that people will be dialed in. If there is something that they're very passionate about, I promise you that there is an organization in this state, particularly if we don't have one in the county, in Greenville County, they're dialed into that issue. You might want to get involved with them, get on their listserv.
Yeah.
And then you'll know what we're doing on a daily basis.
Sure.
Toward that issue. But there are just all kind of ways to get plugged in. If you so desire.
Which they should.
I hope they would.
Which they should, yes. So speaking of, I follow Ren on social media, and that helped me keep up with some of the bills that were coming through that weren't necessarily in the spotlight, that I could come back to the team and be like, hey, did y'all know this was happening? We need to start speaking out. So it's just one of those things that, because everything is not a flashy issue. But I think that following organizations like that help people to just understand exactly what's being passed, especially some of these organizations that are advocating for a lot of things that people want. So
absolutely. And kudos to Ren, because I just saw their recent e-newsletter, and they were advertising the children listening sessions.
Oh, wow.
And so I appreciated that partnership to, announce and put news out about something that might not be exactly what they were looking for. But of course, we know that if they're children, then children have moms, right?
They do.
Yeah. And so, so I think that if we, again, collaborate in all different kind of ways, whether it's communication, whether it's boots on the ground, showing up. That's the other thing. If you want some comic relief, or you just want to have something to do, go to a city council meeting.
City council and county council.
Go to a county council meeting. They're free.
They are.
It's your tax dollars.
So
look at your tax dollars at work.
You will learn a lot.
Exactly. And you'll go, you walk away so informed. Good or bad.
Right.
Hopefully good. But it's a great way to know what is going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. At home. Even come to a delegation meeting if you're so inclined. And the legislative delegation, we meet quarterly here in Greenville at County Square. And we do have encourage people, if you want to say something to us, to sign up, speak. You have 3 minutes, and we're there to listen. So, we're here. We're here.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Representative Dillard. I know you are busy, so I'm glad we could finally make this happen. Good luck to you next week.
Yes.
And you know where to find us if you need anything.
Thank you so much, Stacey.
Absolutely.
The Greenville County Democratic Party thanks you for watching or listening. We are thrilled that you are being an active participant in our civic society. But there are many others who still haven't recognized that their participation will make a positive difference. So we ask you to please share this podcast with others you know, especially those outside your politically minded circles. Most of all, we need you with your time, skills, and effort to help engage more like-minded voters in order to make significant change to our government. Find out how to get involved by connecting with us. Visit the GCDP website, www.greenvilledemocrats.com, and look at the upcoming events calendar or sign up on the volunteer page. Keep up with us by following or subscribing at our social media platforms. Search for